Then the high priest stood up before the others and asked Jesus, aren't you going to answer these charges? What do you have to say for yourself? But Jesus was silent and made no reply. Then the high priest asked him, are you the Messiah, the Son of the Blessed One? Jesus replied, I am, and you will see the Son of Man seated on the place of power at God's right hand and coming on the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest tore his clothing to show his horror. He said, why do we need other witnesses? You have all heard his blasphemy. What is your verdict? Guilty, they all cried. He deserves to die. Then some of them began to spit at him. They blindfolded him and beat him with their fists. They jeered, prophesy to us! And the guards slapped him as they took him away. Meanwhile, Peter was in the courtyard below. One of the servant girls who worked for the high priest came by and noticed Peter warming himself at the fire. She looked closely and said, you were one of those with Jesus of Nazareth. But Peter denied it. I don't know what you're talking about. And he went out into the entryway. Just then a rooster crowed. When the servant girl saw him standing there, she began telling the others, this man is definitely one of them. But Peter denied it again. A little later, some of the bystanders confronted Peter and said, you must be one of them, because you are a Galilean. Peter swore, a curse on me if I'm lying. I don't know this man you're talking about. Immediately, the rooster crowed the second time. Suddenly, Jesus' words flashed through Peter's mind. Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny 2 times that you even know me. You will deny 3 times that you will know me. And he broke down and wept. Very early in the morning, the leading priests, the elders, and the teachers of religious law, and the entire high council met to discuss the next step. They bound Jesus, led him away, and took him to Pilate, the Roman governor. Pilate asked Jesus, are you the king of Jews? Jesus replied, you have said it. Then the leading priests kept on accusing him of many crimes, and Pilate asked him, aren't you going to answer them? What about all these charges they're bringing against you? But Jesus said nothing, much to Pilate's surprise. He ordered Jesus flogged with a lead-tipped whip and turned him over to the Roman soldiers. The soldiers took him into the courtyard of the governor's headquarters called the Praetorium and called out an entire regiment. Soldiers dressed him with a purple robe. They wore thorn branches and put it on his head. They saluted him and taunted, hail, King of the Jews! And they struck him on his head with a reed stick. They spit on him and dropped down to their knees in mock worship. When they were finally tired of mocking him, they took off the purple robe and put his own clothes on him again. And they led him to be crucified. A passerby named Simon, who was from Cyrene, was coming in from the countryside just then, and the soldiers forced him to carry Jesus' cross. Simon was the father of Alexander and Rufus, and they brought him to a place called Golgotha, which means place of the skull. They offered him wine rubbed with myrrh, but he refused it. Then the soldiers crucified him. They divided his clothes and threw dice to decide who would get each piece. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they had crucified him. A sign announced the charge against him. It read, the King of Jews. 2 revolutionaries were crucified with him, one on his right and the other on his left. The people passing by shouted abuse, shaking their heads in mockery. They yelled, ha! Look at you now! You said you were going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days? Well, save yourself and come down from the cross. The leading priests and the teachers of religious law also mocked him. They scoffed. He saved others, but he cannot save himself. Let this Messiah, the King of Israel, come down from the cross so he can see it and believe him. Even the men who were crucified with Jesus ridiculed him. At noon, darkness fell across the whole land until 3 o'clock. Then at 3 o'clock, Jesus called out with a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you abandoned me? Some of the bystanders misunderstood and thought he was calling for the prophet Elijah. One of them ran and filled a sponge with sour wine, holding it up to him on a reed stick. He said, wait, let's see whether Elijah comes to take him down. And Jesus uttered another loud cry and breathed his last. The curtains in the sanctuary of the temple were torn in two from top to bottom. When the Roman officer who stood facing him saw how he had died, he exclaimed, this man truly was the Son of God. Some women were there, watching from a distance, including Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James the Younger and of Joseph, and Salome. They had been followers of Jesus and had cared for him while he was in Galilee. Many other women who had come with him to Jerusalem were also there. This all happened on Friday, the day of preparation, the day before Sabbath.